Hello, everyone. My name is Fatima, and welcome back to the Race Edit. And welcome to the Race Edit if you're new here. Today, I am joined by the lovely, the effervescent Winnie from the Wheelspin podcast. I'm so happy to have her here. You guys, look at her. Doesn't she look great? Winnie, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
Oh my God, thank you. Hi, Fatima. Thank you so much for having me on the race edit. Like it's my pleasure. I'm so honored to be here. Can't wait to, get to know you and get to
Mhm.
know what you do and
Yeah,
what the race edit is all about.
oh man, the race edit is just me yapping away to my computer about everything Formula One and motorsport alike because, hey, why not talk about Formula One?
Why not yap about it? Like you
Yeah.
have the tools for it. Broadcast it to the world. Like yeah,
Exactly. I'm just
yeah.
so excited to have you here. As I've mentioned to you probably so many times that I'm a fan and I love what you do. And honestly, something about me is I'm always just so curious to see how people fall in love with the world of Formula One and how they fall into the content creation side of Formula One as well, because it's two completely different things. You can love a sport and not create content about it, but then you can also love a
Yeah.
sport and create content about it. So I would really love to know how you began this entire process for yourself.
Um, Wait. So first, I think I'll just start on how I got
Yeah.
into F1. I think I just got to F1 through the person I was dating at the moment, like at
Mm.
the time, like I think back in 2017,
Oh,
they
okay.
liked it. And sometimes I always say I don't know how to casually enjoy things. So once I get into something, like it's a deep dive into like everything. So I think my first full on like season was I think 2018 from 2018.
Oh.
So yeah, and I was like I immersed myself so much. I remember watching my first few races and I was like I don't think I'm ever gonna grasp all these 20 people and know what team they race for. Like it was so hectic in my head. I was like there's no way, but like I
Mm-hmm.
think with time and as I've said, I don't know how to casually enjoy things, so I'll just literally like dive right in, get to know every little thing about like the sport and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, so yeah, I think the whole general vibe of I think it being a very team sport, like there are
Mm-hmm.
teams but then there are also individuals also like intrigued me very highly. So yeah, I watched it as a fan 2018, 2019, 2020, and then I think the content creation side didn't it's not something I planned on happening.
Okay.
I just used to share a lot of my takes on my personal social media, and
Yeah.
I'd get so much like engagement, people are telling me, oh my God, I love this take, like tell me more. Like so
Yeah.
I think that is also what inspired like me deciding to just like let me just sit in front of like but also I had like a history in podcasting. I had another podcast, so it was like
Yeah.
yeah, so why not, like why not do it. And then I was so, I mean, of course this is always, I mean, as black girls there was still not so many voices in Formula
Mm-mm.
One, so I was like I have things to say,
Mm-hmm.
why not say them. So yeah, I think that is what inspired my, is it like inspired really, but that's how I got myself into like content creation. We started the Will Spin podcast last year. Yeah,
Yeah.
last year. Yeah, so we turned one this year, so yeah,
Oh,
it's been like a whole
congratulations.
journey. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that makes so much sense. I'm honestly like that too. I have like this obsessive thing where it's like if I get into something that I like, I need to know every single thing about it. And I don't
Mhm.
even think I meant to get into Formula One. It just literally happened. And I was like, oh boy, here I am. Now this is my entire
How did
personality.
you get in?
Genuinely, I remember one day I was working and oh, I hate to say it was Drive to Survive because I hate Drive to Survive now. I'm not like a Drive to Survive. It's not that I hate it. It's just like one of those
No,
shows
no,
where I'm
no.
just like, do I actually enjoy the show or is it just background noise for me? Um, so
No,
I
I
was
enjoyed the first season, by the way. Like the first season, second seasons were bangers. I
Yeah,
don't know. I
it
kind
was
of like them.
so good. The first season, the
Yeah.
second season, then after that, I was like, I can't watch this anymore. But I was working one day and I just needed background noise. And I've always been a Lewis Hamilton fan outside of Formula One just because he's such a big personality to begin with. So I
For
saw that and I was
sure.
like, isn't that what Lewis Hamilton does? And I was like, let me,
Mhm.
watch this and see. And I got really into it. But then my thing was, I was like, wait, I actually like the racing. I don't really care about the subplot. So I was like, how can I get more into finding out about this sport, and I found F1 TV, and I was like, "You're telling me they have every single season ever of Formula One here? Great."
That is,
So
that is so cool. Yeah.
yeah, so I stopped watching Drive to Survive. I think I only watched season one and season two. I stopped watching Drive to
Mhm.
Survive, and I just got straight into Formula One. So now, like, if Drive to Survive comes out, I'll watch like one episode, and I'm like, "That's not what happened. You're lying. You're not."
No, for
Because
sure.
it's over
No, I
dramatized
think
TV, but it is over
very.
dramatized.
Yeah, but I think it's still like a great way for
Oh
Formula One
yeah,
to. I think so much of their growth came from like that
so
series.
much. I wonder
Yeah.
how they'll be able to upkeep it. I don't know if it's a show that could go on for that long. I have thoughts about that a lot because I'm just like, because shows they have like their highs and then they peak and then
And
they
then their lows.
fall. So I don't know if it's one of
Yeah.
those shows that's gonna last forever. I'm not gonna lie, but for right now, it's doing what it needs to do.
No, I think for sure. I think they did something. I mean, they went on and did their big one with Drive to
Yeah.
Survive. So
And now you see all these
yeah,
other shows coming out. IndyCar has a show, and I'm pretty sure now that
yeah.
Liberty got MotoGP, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have a show. Like everyone's trying to replicate it. I'm like, you guys can't beat the original.
They already like the originals already did it. But also I think on that, like I've always wanted to like talk about it. Like the Drive to Survive was important. Like it was good.
Oh
It
yeah.
was very like pivotal for like F1 and trying to infiltrate the some other demographics and
Hmm.
especially the US. But like I also in that on that same breath, I want to talk about the need for content creators, because you can just watch your show, but then you see like how the popularity grows is what happens outside that show. And I think
Hmm.
some platforms like TikTok like really amplified the story of Drive to Survive, because
Yeah.
sometimes after watching something you want to follow up, people come with takes, and
Yeah.
it's just like Love Island, the same way
Oh
like you
my
watch
God.
and then
Yeah.
you'll go one thing, you wanna go and hear what people have to think about that particular like show. And the
Literally.
sound bites from Netflix, like hilarious, like I don't know,
Oh, the
the
sound
sound
bites
bites of
are great. I'm like, you guys are
yeah.
so
So
It's so funny watching Drive to Survive, and then like, because we keep up with the drivers so regularly through the sport, and
yeah.
it's just like, there's no
Mhm.
way you're like this. There's no way you're saying
Mm,
that.
no, no, like sometimes I think it got worse with time, like the over dramatization of everything. So I don't know,
Oh,
like maybe the upcoming F1 movie might like be a good thing. I'm excited for that. So
I'm
maybe it
really
might
excited
just,
for that.
yeah, for the
I
movie,
Yeah.
maybe I think it will be like a very telling of the BTS, or what like Netflix wanted to show.
Hmm.
I think it would be a bit more realistic. Okay, I mean as realistic as a movie can get.
I think they're
Yeah.
trying their best, and I will give them kudos for that. I know that this season of Drive to Survive, will I watch it? Yes, because the way that the 2024 season has been going, I know they're
Oh
getting some
yeah,
great
the
content.
drama, the drama. Like I think I watched the one that was released this year, because now becoming a content creator just means you can just do whatever,
Yeah.
because sometimes you have to give like your opinions on things. So
Hmm.
I think I did skim through like some of the episodes. So it wasn't like, of course you can see they still, if you watch Formula One actively, you follow everything actively,
Yeah.
you can see why it would be very not very representative of whatever happened last year. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean it's
fair.
still okay. I mean, I always say all fans are welcome. There's no
Oh,
judgment. If you got it
100%.
through like a TikTok, through Drive to Survive, still okay. Like as long
Yeah.
as you like it. Like I don't know why people sometimes have this intense need to be like, oh my god, if you've not watched the 1998 like season, you're not a fan. Oh my god,
Oh
like
my
rest,
gosh. And then they test
rest.
for like races. I'm like, first of all, was I even born when that race happened? Was I here in
Like
1993? No. I was here in
ex-
1996.
no, like those people like really like. I'm always so tired. I'm like rest, just rest, sir,
For
rest.
me, those people are more so when they're losing an argument, that's the only thing they can hold on to, is what I've noticed. It's like, oh, you don't know anything, you're a Drive to Survive fan. I'm like, is that the best you got for me? Is it? Because if that's all, then okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure it's like their last resort, and it's
Mhm.
not doesn't even hold any water. at
At
all.
all,
Yeah.
at all. Um, yeah, so I know that you mentioned that you've been doing this content creation for
Right.
Formula One for about a year now. Have you noticed
Hmm.
any impact on your career trajectory with this content creation? I'm aware that you found a new home with Capital FM. So
Hmm.
can you talk to me about how that came to be?
I mean, of course, I don't know. Like as I've said, I didn't actively plan to come into, like, maybe you strategize, be like, this is what I want my career to look like. So I think I'll just say, like, F1 motorsport content creation just happened to me.
Hmm.
So but it has had like a big impact in me. Like it's had me like sit back and, like, try to think, okay, maybe this is something I need to actively work on and
Yeah.
pursue. And anyway, it's like what I'm doing right now. I mean, of course, it doesn't pay all my bills, but like it
You know,
tries. Like, you can really, I mean, I've not gotten to that level where I can say I exclusively, like, you
mhm,
know and my living from, like, F1 content creation.
mhm.
But yeah, as in, it's hard. Like, I wouldn't say it's not been very impactful. It's been very impactful on, on like what I want my career and like my future career, or like the career that I'm building on to look like.
Yeah.
The capital FM, thank you for, I always love, like, I just knew you're a good research gully, you will get that right. Yeah, so the Capital FM is like, it's a big radio station. It's a media
Mhm.
company here in Kenya. So yeah, so in fact, when I was going to Capital, I was gonna pitch myself. I was going to pitch myself to do like a bit of bylines for like their digital, like, website. So just do like
Yeah.
a bit of, just write motorsport. And then they're like, oh, you have a podcast. I was like, oh, yeah, yeah, cool, I have the wolf spin, like, this is what I do. And yeah, so yeah, and that's how they were like very impressed with
I
what
love
we're doing. And then yeah, so we got into a partnership of, while we get to distribute my content to push it to their audience. They already like a well set up brand media company here in Kenya. So
Yeah.
like a distribution partnership, and they help amplify my content. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Not you take initiative.
Let me tell you, like, the thing is, I keep on saying, if you believe in, with, especially with, like, when you're trying to do something so novel, like, there's
Mhm.
no one I know who's made a career out of F1 content creation from Kenya, or like from Africa, really. Like, I
No,
don't
you're
really
the
know
only
someone who's actually,
person really that I know. Like, and you're
like,
building.
yeah, so I think when you think about it, and people will say this is a very niched, all the time when I meet with people, oh, you're doing amazing and it's very niched, you must be getting very big deals. I'm telling you, no, like, it doesn't matter if you're doing something niched, like, it does, you still have to put in so much work. And the
Mhm.
era of just, I think where people get it wrong sometimes is just thinking, I will sit down, I will do a video, and I will expect it to go viral like one day, and that way my life changes forever. I mean, I have not been lucky to experience that, like, where my video goes viral and that's it, like, my life has changed forever. And I don't know if it's like a circumstance of my location, like, I really do not know, but I don't mostly like to victimize myself. So
Mhm.
I will say, I've lost my train of thought, but I think
It's
I was talking about,
okay.
like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, so the thing about, like, you cannot just wait, you cannot sit down and wait, you have to look for ways to make sure that
Mhm.
you're looking out for yourself, like, reach out to brands, do your proposals, like, say, this is what I do, this is what I
Yeah.
would want to do I would want from you. Like, that is just the way to survive, and how to maybe probably make it through this microeconomy of F1 content creation. And I
Yeah.
think it's still something that people don't understand. So, and also, like, I don't have like 100,000 followers, but I've still, like, steadily growing, like, ensuring that your audience is also very engaged.
Yeah.
I think all this to just say that you just have to have passion that outlives maybe your expectations of what the internet will do for you. So
Mhm.
I think I would have given up like quite early. Like, sometimes when you put out content, you're like, oh my god, why am I not getting like a million views
Yeah.
immediately? Like, yeah,
And
exactly. So
it kind of builds character too, instead of like you're working towards something, because content creation, especially in our world of Formula One, it's not easy because you have to be factual about the things you're talking about. You can't just say whatever and be like, I think that's right. No, like
Yeah.
this is serious stuff, but it does build character. Instead of, I mean, overnight success is great or whatever, but like it kind of puts you in, I guess, like a box. It puts you in a box
Mm.
because you're not, is that video that went super viral exactly what you were looking to speak about? Because once that goes viral, the people that come to you are expecting more of that content, and that might not be exactly what it is that you were even
Yeah.
aiming for. So it builds character and allows you to work and develop yourself as well. I mean, to be honest, I think you're doing amazing. I was so happy when I found an African Formula One creator. I was like, there's no way, because it's really, I don't think I've found any other ones besides you, unless I'm just like missing something.
No, I mean I do know others like okay, there's also like I've always wanted to like talk about it because there's
Mhm.
also like a difference in the type of content. There are people who do
Yeah,
like educational and in entertainment, like
you're right.
insert entertainment into that content. I struggle with getting to be funny in my content. Like I also don't just believe we should all be funny. Like or
Yeah,
like yeah, right. Like we can all I can be talking about serious thing, but of course, like my personality is represented in the content and people are engaging with whatever I am saying. Because that is one thing I also struggled with. I would see people doing very well using the clickbaity sounds on TikTok or like the
I can't
trending
do
sounds, and you
that.
just write some bit of thing, or I'm doing something with my face, there's that type of content and I love it. Like I love that
Yeah,
people also thrive on it, and also because it's like the era of people don't have so much concentration span, so it's quick.
yeah.
Like if you're playing something, you've written something, people have read, they're moving on. And then
Mhm.
there's other like there's the type of content I do where like I really go out and research, and I want to tell you, and I want to tell you
Yeah.
through my voice. I don't want to put any song above my. I want you to
No.
listen. Yeah.
Yeah,
So there's that difference of content I have always like seen happen. But like
yeah,
I think the thing is to just balance out the two. Decide to either be make sure that you're also doing content that can be pushed and bring people to see now your other content that you make, the one that
yeah,
maybe you're not necessarily trying to be funny or whatever. So
yeah.
as you've said, I think there's building character, like in the sense of not having to just grow in yourself. Like personally, so many things have changed about how I do things. Like the content I was creating last year is not the content I'm creating this
No.
year. The strategy I had last year is not the strategy I have this year. And like I think that is what I like about not probably being an overnight success, because you have time to figure out yourself, like what works for me, like what works for
Yeah.
people will come and get whatever you give them,
Hmm.
as opposed to just maybe going viral for like one type of content, and then when people come back they want to see, as you've said,
Exactly.
that will put you like in a box. So
Yeah. No, you're
yeah.
100%
But
right.
I do know about other amazing African. I think
Oh my
I
God, I
think
need
she
to
called
find
herself
them.
Shapey. She's from South
Mm,
Africa. I will
okay.
send you her like
Yes,
Instagram. So I think
please.
yeah, so she does. I think mostly hers is like the transitions. I think she's good at it. Like the TikTok sounds, she's very good at it
People
anyway.
who are good at that, I'm so amazed by them. I'm like, I try to
I
be a
can't
TikTok.
do
I'm like,
Oh my god! I always thought like sometimes I'm just like maybe I'm just not a cutout for this like content creation,
literally
because you want to tell me I try so hard. I
so
go and TikTok,
hard.
I'm like, no, I cannot do this, guys. But I think, as you said, like this is part of you, like your growth,
Yeah,
like and like that building of your character, because
100%.
you learn how to do these things. And I would tell you not to be closed off to it. Like just try until you get it
Oh
right. Like it
yeah,
doesn't have to be everything you do. Like it's not the only type of content you do, but like just try. I feel like it's just teaching us things. I think I don't
100%.
know, content creation will teach you life skills. Like
It really will. I'm just so amazed by these TikTokers. But the ones who do like fan cams and stuff. I'm like, how do you even like on TikTok? I
yeah.
shout out to them because I love their content, but I
Me
need to
too.
figure
I
it
enjoy
out.
watching it. Like I wouldn't make it, like, but I enjoy seeing it for
I'm
sure.
definitely like a long form content kind of girly. I love listening to long form content. I love creating long
Yeah.
form content. It's just like, I don't know, listen to a good podcast. But I also do, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have TikTok and I'll go on my phone, I'll just be like scrolling through, but I just like love to have something just playing in the background always.
No, I mean, as I've said like earlier, like I think just create the
Yeah.
content that you'd like to actually listen to. I also
Mhm.
love that's why I also have like apart from like the Insta, and I also do a number of TikTok sometimes. I have YouTube,
Yeah.
like it's also my favorite, and I think that's the like when I went through your content as well, I was like, oh, I think we're similar in that way. I also enjoy making, and I yap so much. I will sit
Oh
down. I'm
my
like, I'm doing this for
gosh.
20 minutes, and then I end up doing 50, and I'm like, I'm just talking to myself. Like
And
it's
then
so crazy.
and then I get so mad at myself because here I'm talking and they're like, you have to edit this, right, Fatima? I'm like, oh wait. Yeah, I do.
No, but for sure, like I think there's also like a need, but because I still feel like we have people haven't cracked. There's still like room for growth in like
Yeah.
the long format content when it comes to like F1, because I also don't see a lot of the content. Sometimes what I'm looking for is like give me an in-depth analysis. Like I want to listen to someone talk about
Hmm.
things, like let me pick up things along the way. And that's what I like. Once I realized I can't find like channels that do that for me, then I was like, oh, I can do that.
Exactly.
Like go gather the information, come and tell people, like that is like I think that's very important. And I've seen people try, I think of a few creators have tried to hack YouTube. It's not very easy to hack like
It's
YouTube.
really hard to hack YouTube.
I've seen Tonic, Tonica, she's Tonica One Brown. I always call her name like continuously. Tony F1.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
does
yeah, yeah,
also
yeah.
like, yeah. So I see her like I saw if her even like do a YouTube video where she was like, oh my god, I think I know why I feel that like at YouTube or whatever. But again, it's not something you expect to work overnight. Like that's something
No.
you just, yeah, you just keep at it like until the
Hmm.
right people like find your content.
Hmm. So I guess
Yeah.
in that, would you say that because we did talk about it earlier about how it's there's not a lot of the Formula One content that is out there. I mean, I guess more so on the ones that I watch through YouTube when it comes to long form content, it is really heavily male dominated. I do find on TikTok there is more female content when it comes to Formula One. So with you, do you think you've have found, I guess, any difficulty in reaching not success, but in growing your platform? Because I do find that it's already like one thing being a female Formula One content creator, and then you have being a Black female Formula One content creator that adds on to it. So do you think you found any difficulty in that kind of area?
Um, okay, so I think for one, I'll speak to like the general like experience I've had with the
Mhm.
podcast. Like I think when we started, I mean, there was always those, of course, you always have those misplaced content, like
Yeah.
comments from especially like guys or
Hmm.
whatever, like with their pseudo accounts, like, go back to the kitchen, or when did we allow women to talk about sports and stuff? And
Yeah.
especially when you're not doing their funny content, like sometimes
Yeah.
I feel like they either want you to be funny or make fun of yourself, but
Yeah.
not when you're talking about maybe seriously trying to dissect a situation with facts. And
Hmm.
that really sometimes X people, and they want to put you in another box, like in another like box per se. That's what I'm saying. But really, I think over time I didn't they became fans. Like I
Yeah.
really wouldn't say I've faced so much like hate from guys. If anything, like I think like a heavy percentage of my podcast
Yeah.
is like listened to by guys, by males,
Same
like
here,
by, yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So but it is, I think, what I want to speak when we talk about like maybe being in the male dominated like space, especially when it
Hmm.
comes to the long format content. I think what I would want is just for also brands to like take chances on small creators. Like I wish
Yeah.
they would also have programs where they have space for like someone with big numbers, and then have like space for someone with small, with us like small numbers, or trying to grow their platform, but they can see they have like potential in doing so. Because I think
I
it
agree.
like it will work both ways for the brand. Like they it will show that they have support for either minority creators, and also help the small creators grow. So I think that
I
is what I
agree.
would want to, like, I would love for that to happen. Because I don't know, sometimes I stopped like thinking there's something wrong with my content, and that's why maybe I'm not like at 100 or whatever. So I
Yeah.
stopped thinking, because I know my content is good. It's just that maybe sometimes we struggle with I think I have faced sometimes, as you said, like I cannot talk about like my content creation journey without without mentioning that I'm black and also
Yeah.
like mostly from Africa. So
Yeah.
sometimes, there's also all those, like sometimes like the algorithms are really not meant for our faces and for our voices. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you really have to, just trust the process and just, okay,
100%.
cry a little bit sometimes, so, and just walk through it. I just feel like there's so much more that structures or systems can help to enable
Yeah.
to just amplify our voices, because I don't feel like they're doing enough, to be honest. Like,
No.
because I think sometimes when I listen to some content and I'm like, oh my god. I also, like, I have like a small gossip. I remember this one time I did a video like structured, like
Mm.
released it quite early, and then I saw the same structure, like the same content, just changed a little bit, tweaked by a very big creator, and I was like, oh my god, like this
Oh
is
my
bonkers,
gosh.
crazy. But then I do want to start drama. I was just like, you know what? Like, imitation is the biggest form of
Yeah.
flattery. So I was just like, that's when I was like, oh, I don't think there's a problem with my content. Like, it's just that maybe it's not being pushed enough, and maybe I don't know. Then you have to be very. That's when you go back and re-strategize. Be like, is it bringing on board, doing a bit more collaborations with people to
Mm-hmm.
ensure that you're,
Mm-hmm.
selling your craft to a bit more a different audience, or
You're
like
right.
appealing to like a different, your audience. I don't know if I said something. Maybe I just yapped. Did I answer
No,
your
no, you're
question?
100% right with that. That makes complete sense. I can't believe that creator though. I mean,
I will
dang,
side by you. I will side.
crazy. I was
Yeah.
it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna start drama, but also like, all right, I see that I'm good at what I do, even though you're, yeah, that's crazy. No, you're
No,
absolutely right in that.
no, you shouldn't steal from and if you, even
Oh
though like
no,
you want to copy, like please just credit someone. Be like, okay, I was heavily inspired by this person, and
that's
that's the
all
thing.
you
Like,
need to do. Like they,
yeah,
I don't understand that. It's so simple to just credit somebody. It's so simple, but hey, like your time will come. So it is what it is.
for sure. That's the thing, exactly.
It is what it is. I'm
But
just
you should.
going. No, sorry, go ahead.
And also, you shouldn't just wait for your time. If you have the balls, if you want to call people out, call them out.
Yeah.
That was just me.
See,
Like,
my
if
thing is, it's like
if it
I'll
happens
be
to me again, I'm gonna call it out. If it
as you
happens again,
should.
I'm gonna call it out.
As
Yeah.
you should. My thing is like I would like to call it out, and I probably would, but then I'm like, oh my god, now I have to deal with this drama. That's my issue.
Exactly.
Like, oh great, now I have to
But let
deal
me
with it.
tell you, there's nothing like, F1 is always constantly in a drama. Like Formula One fans love drama. Oh my god, they
Girl,
live for it.
it stresses me out. No, genuinely, it stresses. Sometimes I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to comment something. I'm like, do I need to be jumped by all these people? I don't think so.
No, you know, I think you should go for it. Be ready to get jumped, because I think it's always. Let me tell you, people don't like calm things. That's the thing I realized. People love toxicity, like fun fans, especially not toxicity, but
It's
they just love a good, like, they love someone who stirs the pot, like,
oh my
say something
gosh.
controversial, do something, or like I don't know. Like, there's always something up
It's crazy. And they're so
with
funny because they always say that one fan base is worse than the other. I'm like, no, you're actually all equally as bad as each other. Like all
you're
of
all
you.
terrible. You're all terrible. Like, there's no better fan base. Especially when I'm like, oh my god, you guys, like, it gets so personal. Sometimes I'm like, oh really? And
Like, come on.
especially like on Twitter, like if I Twitter, I'm always like, wow,
No,
wow, it's
it's
crazy. Like, you'll
insane.
see people like, I'm like, is it this serious, guys? Like, is it?
Is
But I
it?
do know, like, I think it's ours. Like, I don't, again, like, I think if one fans, like, once you get very deep into it, like, you become so intense. Like,
You do.
there's
You really
no,
do.
there's no sitting on the other side of sitting on the fence. No, it's either you're
At
in
all.
spreading the propaganda, or you're not. Like, there's always a jet.
I know Formula One fans, especially Formula One fan. I joined F1 Twitter because I was like, I need to find more creators on F1, and then like now I'm sucked into it. But now I'm just like, dang, there's a lot of drama over here.
There's always something brewing. And then, there's like the F1 part of the drivers, and then there's the personal lives of the drivers, who they date, what they're
Oh my
doing, who they're friends
God.
with. So yeah,
See,
and people are in
that's where I try and
paras.
step back. The parasocial relationships, I'm like, I don't need to know all of this. I don't need to know who this person's dating. I genuinely think I'd only know what's her face? Charles's girlfriend, and that's just because you can't. She's always on, like, someone's always posting her on social media. But aside from that, I don't think I know who anyone else is dating, and I need to stay that way completely.
Great for you, me. I love, like, I don't know, like, not getting into like, I just know they're there. Like, I just, because like some of the drivers also want, I feel like some of them also attract this drama. Like, it's like they
Oh yeah,
want it, to remain a bit relevant, like,
that's a
and
good
up their
point.
marketability, like whatever. So I think they also play into the fans' games. So even I don't think F1 fans are very like outrageous for the things they do. Like, it's
No,
because these people also feed into their delusions, like
they
100%. They
do.
encourage them. So,
They do. That's actually
but
such a
like,
good
I
point.
don't think they should like endanger the lives of other people. Like, we should just do this in a more like, like, be a grown
Yeah,
up about it. Like,
yeah.
don't be weird. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, literally just
Don't
don't
be
be.
weird. Like, it's like when people break up and they're like, "Oh my god, why did you? Oh my god, please stop!" Like, you don't know these people personally. Like,
It's
just consume content
crazy.
and move along.
And move along. I mean, with that, since we're talking about, drivers and whatnot, might as well talk
Mm-hmm.
about. Actually, you know what? Before we get into that, I really want to talk about two things. I want to talk about F1 Academy, and I want to talk about Formula One possibly returning back to Africa. So,
Ooh,
quickly,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah,
know, quickly with F1 Academy, I'm all for the girls. I love seeing girls thrive. I love seeing girls be successful, especially in our industry, in all aspects of our industry, may it be racing, may it be
definitely.
creating, presenting, etc. And we know that. So we had the W Series, which unfortunately went into administration, but then F1 Academy was brought up, and I think they're in their second year now, and Susie Wolf is the managing director for F1 Academy, as we know. And one thing that she mentioned a while ago was that she would love to see a female Formula One driver by 2030, which is coming up. And I mean, aside from the drivers that they do currently have, I am aware that they do have their initiatives where they have like Discover Your Drive for young girls from karting on the way all the way up, which is what is needed in order to have a Formula One driver. You need to start from the ground up. What are your thoughts on seeing on us having a female driver by 2030? Because like I said, it's coming up, and right now the F1 Academy cars, they're fast, but they're not fast enough. And I think that's something that we're missing, and that's something that could be potentially worked on, which I mean, they are still very new in the game. But I'm just curious because I haven't actually had this conversation with a lot of people when it comes to F1 Academy.
No, I think I love it for an academy. Like, I'm always like, I think even from last year I was like, oh, get the girls on live TV. I want to
Mhm.
see them race live. So I think I'm excited for F1 Academy. It looks a bit more probably well set up than probably W series.
Yeah,
So I mean, of course, I hope they drew their lessons from that series and bring
yeah.
them on to F1 Academy. Structurally, like, it looks like it's well sound, like the fact that it has backing from F1 and
Oh
they
my
have the
God, yeah.
teams, F1 teams involved in the F1 Academy. I think that's one way of addressing the sustainability of the series,
Hmm.
and also having them run alongside F1 to just help amp their numbers and bring,
Hmm.
the more the numbers, the more the revenue, and probably the more
Exactly.
you can sustain the series. So that's exciting. I love everything about it. I love the wild card entries wherever they
Oh my
go,
God,
they bring like a
yeah.
local talent from
I
like that
love
country
that.
to race in F1 Academy. I think that's just a good way of ensuring that the series is also sustainable in a sense. And also
Hmm.
all I mean, having a Formula One driver, is it? I know there's also another initiative called More Than Equal, run
Yes,
by
yes,
David Coulthard, like
yes.
that tries to their aim is also to have like a female F1 champion, in
And they've
fact.
been doing
So
that for a while too. So,
so I think it's very interesting. Like, as you said, it's good for some of these initiatives to focus on grant, like cutting up, to ensure that
mhm.
there is like that um pipeline of drivers of
Yeah,
talent. If you want to identify like good talent, you also have to start like very early on, like prop these people up, prop these women up, like from that
yeah,
early age. Yeah. And when you talk about initiatives, I'm always sometimes so saddened because for me, I have to advocate for my continent, for my
of
motherland,
course.
Africa. So I think,
Of
of course, we
course.
have to have like more initiatives. I remember early this year, I think around February, I covered the inaugural like African Karting Cup that was happening in South Africa.
Oh
Yeah, I was so
yeah.
excited. I really wanted to see that there were so many just African kids, talented kids, racing at that karting cup. I was so excited to see them, and they just do need coverage as well. Like,
That's it.
just
Yeah.
coverage, let people know about these people, let sponsors, brands know about these kids, so that even those that cannot, they don't just drop off because they don't have the funding, because like karting and the road to any formula series is very expensive. So
It's
just,
so
as I've
expensive.
said, just I've insisted on like coverage, so I really did my best. I didn't even have, but people tuned in, and I was excited. I
That's
did that coverage,
amazing.
and the kids are talented actually. And I know now Mishif, the Sky Sports presenter, I know she was in South Africa, I think this past weekend. And it
Hmm.
was crazy because I saw her highlight one of the kids that I was really excited about. Like, and she was like, "Oh my god, this kid is fast." And I had noticed, like, when I was
Yeah.
covering the inaugural African Cutting Cup, I saw that kid and I was like, "Oh yeah, there's something in this kid." Yeah. So I
Ooh,
mean,
talent.
that's yeah, so I think that is it. We just need more coverage. Like, let's have more involvement, more media involvement. Let brands know about these kids that are, in that pipeline,
Hmm.
and also have like more girls. So I don't know. I think
Yeah.
for us, like in Africa, it's like a very different situation. Like, even when you look at the cutting levels, I haven't seen so many girls as well. Like, I haven't seen so many of them. Like, I'm always asking, I want to know who's there so that I can also just try to, prop them, like, just give them like a bit of audience. So
And
I think there's still so
yeah.
much to be done on that front, because it's still on the F1 grid, F1 academy grid. We still don't have any African. Like, we don't have
No,
any. Yeah.
we don't. And you know what? That actually, it kind of ties into my next point about F1 and returning back to Africa, because I think that would be very beneficial to it as well. Because I know once F1 started racing in like Saudi or whatever, they started having initiatives. There's one, who was it? Sebastian Vettel, who took all the girls out karting, because girls could finally start driving. And that
Yeah.
was something that I'm like, okay, so you see, if F1 goes to these countries, they can do these initiatives, which should bring that highlight to the young talent that we have there. And that is one reason why it would be great to have F1 return back to Africa as well, because they do things like that. But right now we don't have that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, I'm excited about the possibilities of what could happen with Formula One in Africa. So I
Mhm.
just love that we're having options now. I mean, last 2022, I mean, there were rumors that actually like
Yeah,
the South African Grand Prix could return to the grid as early as like last year, but then
yeah.
that didn't happen. I love right now we're being told that Rwanda is in serious talks with Formula One. I love that there was also like a Zanzibar bid. They were actually also very serious. Zanzibar
Oh,
also had a bid. They wanted to also host Formula One. And I want to just tell people, stop looking. I think I've seen a lot. I posted one video on like on our socials. We're talking about that. And I just want
uh-huh.
people to stop having such like, shallow visions and everything, like saying, "Oh my God, there's still so much money. We have issues," but so does everyone. Like, I think
So does
gone are the
everywhere.
days where we're just like, we have to let Africa have like a back foot because what we have issues. So do all the other countries. I mean, F1 races in very controversial like
You
countries,
know,
like, so how come now it's Africa that has like, oh no, no, we
sometimes we're
can
just our worst
like
enemy. That's really it.
one handed, like, I think as long as there's like a strategic plan, and I believe that people like money is readily there, people can invest in these structures, and I think people don't know how much it will be helpful, as you said, that will bring initiatives into the continent and bring a bit more
Hmm.
spotlight on the continent and
Hmm.
on its talents, because otherwise then we're just going to be losing drivers off, like, and never get to see like
And
an
that's
actual
so
like,
sad because there's so
yeah,
many talented.
I just want that whole attitude of it's Africa. We have so many other issues to think about. No, this is also amongst, like, we have to. It's Formula One. It's called the World Championship. Like, it can be a World Championship. It's not
If you're
racing
not
in
exactly,
Africa. Yeah,
like, you're
and
missing
there's
the
so
point.
much possibility. Like, you cannot count Africa out. Like, we have a population of a billion people, and also the economic power of the African continent is also very, very important. I mean,
Mhm.
come on, like, it's like when people are like, "Oh my God, you guys watch F1 in Africa." Oh my God, like, it's sick. People
Hello,
are
like,
there. Yeah, like there is like if you bring it here, it will be a bit cheaper for people to afford. Like
Oh,
like
they bring it
a bit
to
not
Rwanda.
cheaper, but relatively like relative. I didn't say cheaper because Formula
I
One
know what
is
you mean.
still
No,
insanely
because I'm
very
pretty sure
expensive.
Singapore is one of the cheaper races to go to. A lot of people fly over to Singapore to watch that Grand Prix because it's like I couldn't go to the Canadian Grand Prix this year because it was so expensive. Like, would I
See, and
love to
you're
go to?
and you're in the country,
And I'm in the
yeah. Like it's
country.
that's the thing that actually like blows my mind off. Like I think a lot of drivers, I think including Lewis, has come out to say just like, can we just not make this like ticket so very expensive? And even it doesn't even make sense. Like I keep on telling people sometimes I think we see as like attending a Grand Prix is very glamorous, like
Mm.
because when you're watching the race. But then I'm like, I see sometimes people's POVs when they're
Yeah,
like in races, and I'm like, hi,
I
bro. Like I don't
watch
want to go.
my
Like
laptop.
I'll just prop my I'll watch on my TV.
Literally,
Like
genuinely,
yeah,
no. Because the thing is, Formula E is actually pretty relatively cheap. And like Formula E's been in the game for like at least 10 maybe 11 years now. And I'm like, that's a really good racing series as well. I know obviously they're two different racing series, but like if that can be affordable, then we can make F1 affordable.
yeah. I mean, for sure they have like so much. I mean, F1 has been racing for so many years from 1950. That's a lot
Yeah.
of time. They can. I feel like they can figure out something that make they can make the tickets a bit more relatively affordable while
Hmm.
still ensuring that they're getting their profits or whatever. But again, as
Yeah.
we say, cash is king. I highly doubt they will ever do that. But like, who knows? I think. But me, I mean, we don't care. Bring a friend to Africa. Our
Yeah,
people will
exactly.
fly
Bring it.
in. Like
You know,
I don't care. Like bring
I'm
them.
getting
Like
tickets. Like I'm getting tickets.
for sure. Like I think I'm also excited. F1 is coming. Like the prize giving is coming to Kigali this year.
Oh my
So the
God. Oh
FIA
yeah,
annual
yeah.
meeting, yeah, will be in Rwanda. So that's exciting. It's just Rwanda is not very far from Kenya, so probably you might be flying. But we'll just go there and see what we
Uh,
can do. The drivers, yeah.
I would, if you
So
guys could
excited.
do something, I need all the content because I'm over here in Canada. Can't go.
Don't worry, we got you. We'll try our best. I will really try my best. I'm actually like actively trying to do proposals to like brands I've worked with
Hmm.
previously to just facilitate or just go like get me an audience. Like just that. Like we can just
That's
do
it.
something quick.
You
Yeah, that's it.
know? That's it.
Mhm.
Oh
Yeah, so
man.
the prospect of Formula One in Africa is very exciting.
It's
And
so
I
good.
know it's gonna happen. I can feel it in my bones. I need it to happen.
I need it to happen like next year so I can see Lewis race in Africa.
Yeah. I think that's one of his biggest dreams, and I want it to happen for him. And I want to watch him race. Like it will be like it's very poetic. It's just very I think it's just be magical, beautiful. And I think
Yeah.
even Max has said before he would like to race in Africa as well. So I mean it's something that everyone is in support of. And yeah, and there's a big growing, I mean that's the other thing you cannot ignore. There's a big growing fan base of F1 fans in Africa as well. Like everywhere there are even like F1 clubs that people have
Yeah,
watch
I saw
parties
that.
every now and every now and then. Yeah, and then there's also us like F1 creators who are like upcoming. So like the F1 is like a serious thing around here. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've definitely been
yeah.
seeing those watch parties. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do want to talk about some things. So one
Oh yeah.
is I know that you mentioned in one of your videos that you are Charles girly. How did that happen? It's so funny to me how people choose their drivers because Formula One is one of those sports where it's like it feels like you choose your driver first and your team second, unless you're Italian. It's always Ferrari, understandable. Um,
100%.
but wherever your driver goes, you go essentially. So where did the whole Charles? I mean, I can understand why you're a fan of Charles because I feel like almost everyone is, but how did that happen for you?
I don't even know if I have like a specific like time where I decided I want to support Shell. But like I think what solidified like it for me was his 2019, I think
Mm-hmm.
Monza win. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ferrari had like an insane car for the half of that season of 2019. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
even have I wish I had like a very nice story about how I started supporting him. But I mean, I loved the brand Ferrari, it looked very iconic. So, and I don't know, I just love red. And with Charles
Yeah.
Leclerc, it was everything. I mean, he's like almost, I mean we're all in the same almost age bracket, so it's always like it was amazing to see someone like I mean starting out very young as well. Like I think I just gravitated towards him because of the age thing as well. Like it's inspiring to just see people of like start like 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 when you're just trying to do your life and take a chance with yourself, and Ferrari taking a chance on him. They must have seen something. And also his personal story, like I've gravitated towards it, like
Mm-hmm.
his it was not like a very direct path to
No.
Formula One for him, like with his parents having to also work very hard to enable him to get
Mm-hmm.
to Formula One. I think his personal story is also quite inspiring, if you're
Mm-hmm.
being honest. And also his personality, like he's very the way he speaks is just, it's Charles Leclerc. Like you gotta love the
Yeah,
man. No,
you
but
really
I think
do.
for me, like, so I loved Ferrari, loved Charles Leclerc, but then I think for me, everything like really switched up. I mean, of course, Lewis was always there. I had nothing against, like, loved Lewis,
Yeah.
because Lewis for us, like for me, as a black woman, as an African woman, really, Lewis represents so much for me. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
I adore him, like in the sense, I even revere him to a sense
Me
of
too.
being
I
like a
know.
god, because he's fought through so much adversity, and he's so gracious about how he goes through things, and there's nothing not to like about that man, the things he believes in, and the way he goes about life, the way he learns from his mistakes or whatever, and the way
Mm-hmm.
he handles like things I could never. So but I think
Oh yeah.
most of that changed during 2020, when at the height of so much
Mm-hmm.
racial profiling, it was like
Mm-hmm.
that time where there was so much vitriol against black people.
Mm-hmm.
There was cases of Breonna Taylor, there was George Floyd, there
Mm-hmm.
was so much happening in 2020. And that also, like, Lewis was not very, like, he didn't just sit back about it.
No.
No, he was really vocal about it. Every win in that 2020 season was, you would see him in a free Breonna
Mm-hmm.
Taylor, like, t-shirt.
The
You'd see him in, like, doing the Wakanda signs, after, Bosman, like, passed away.
mm-hmm.
You would just see him in a lot of things, advocating for end SARS in Nigeria. There
Mm-hmm.
was always something, there was an advocacy for him. And I think F1 getting very threatened, saying there's no bringing politics in Formula One. And it was like maddening. I was sick to my
It's
stomach. I'm
so
like, what do you
frustrating.
mean? This is not politics. This is that things that actually or like affecting us directly. And I love that he was not very quiet about it. And that's the time I really gravitated towards him, because I also wanted to protect him because of how, like, exactly.
Oh,
So I think 2020
protection.
solidified it for me. Exactly. And like, he was iconic that year. 2020 was an iconic year for Lewis Hamilton. Still
Yeah.
remember his 92nd win at Portugal, like at the
Bruh.
Portuguese Grand Prix. I cried, like, bro. I think, yeah, that
Yeah.
solidified, like, that's where I was like, this, yeah, he's like, oh, like his, and from then on, he's been my favorite driver to just support.
Same.
Like, yeah, and then Charles Leclerc
Yeah.
comes second, because he's also been very my Charles Leclerc struggles is
I
consistency.
feel you, girl.
I don't
I
want to get
feel.
attacked, but I just feel like sometimes, yeah, I just need to do a bit more.
I know me and Charles, I feel like I'm like that with you when it comes to Charles, but I get that. Honestly, like when it comes to Lewis, it's so funny because one of the reasons why I started this channel was because I was so sick of seeing all the disgusting comments. I was tired.
Mm. Yes, I love that. Uh-huh.
It's like
You,
there's this you feel kind of crazy sometimes. I'm like, am I actually like
yeah,
is there a disconnect here? Like I don't understand how
right?
much the hate doesn't match to me. It actually doesn't.
Mm-mm.
It actually does
It
not.
doesn't even make sense. Sometimes you're like, oh my god, no, there's nothing wrong with you. It's them. It's crazy. It's just
No.
it's unnecessary, unwarranted, and especially when it's like racially motivated, it becomes, oh my god. Okay, sorry.
It's
You
okay.
be like, oh my god, like, no, we cannot be saying. And I feel that, I love that, because it's also one of the reasons why, like, like, I was like, I need a voice, because sometimes we need
Mm,
representation. We need people who maybe understand, because there's not so much like a white creator can talk about,
mm-mm.
like, maybe the racism against Lewis Hamilton, like,
Because it's
and
you
maybe
just
what racism, how
stand it.
racism manifests in Formula, exactly. So,
Because the microaggressions are real. They are
oh my
so
god,
real.
so much. Yes, yes.
But yeah,
But
no,
I
long
also love that you're here, because we're also trying to prove that, um I love when people pay like attention and to their detail and to their craft, and that's what you're doing as well. So it also serves to give a bit more credibility to Africans, to Black people as well. Because I mean, I think we're hardworking, we're smart, we know what we're saying. So yeah, I love,
Yeah.
just keep doing what you're doing as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna ask you one more thing and then I'll let you go because it we've been chatting for so long.
Oh my god, yeah, we
Um,
can yap. I've seen clear, and then this is more editing for you.
I've had so much fun
Uh-huh.
today, but I guess oh my God, there's so many things I could talk to you about, but I guess one of the things that I
Mhm.
know this is so unserious and it's probably not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. But the whole controversy, the whole Max to Mercedes bit, listen,
I don't think
listen.
it's unserious. Don't say it's unserious because this is
Right.
Formula One. This
It could
is Formula
happen.
One in 2024. When we started this year, who thought Lewis could go to
You know
Ferrari? Like,
what? So I was gonna bring
mhm.
that up. When I saw that, I was surprised, but I wasn't shocked. I was like, I after how the last 2 years ended, I get it. I get it. I see why he would
For
leave.
sure. No.
I see.
And I
Max
think
Mercedes is also not shocking to me because it could happen because Toto has been begging and
But
begging.
I don't
And
think he's got, yeah. But I think Toto has options. I mean, okay, let's speak on that like Hamilton, like to Ferrari thing. Very excited about it. I'm happy he did it because I don't think Mercedes were taking him seriously. I don't think they
they
were according him
weren't.
the necessary like respect as well. And seeing him talk about like how much his input was actually being ignored, and that's why they ended up having such a shitty car. And the moment they start taking him seriously, the car is fast. Like it's so crazy. No, I'm so glad he left. He's
Can we
staying.
talk about how now that the car is fast, people are like, oh, I bet Lewis regrets going to Ferrari. I'm like,
Yeah.
were you guys saying that at the
Mhm.
start of the season when Ferrari was winning? Were you? Because you weren't. And second, how many times does Lewis have to say that they gave him a 1+1 contract? He was not going to be at Mercedes by like the end of 2026. So he,
I think what Toto wanted was to dictate Lewis's like departure from Formula One, and Lewis was
exactly,
like, "No, you're not going to write my story. I'm gonna
exactly.
write it." I love it for him. Like I don't think he
Love it.
regrets going to Ferrari.
Even
Like
if
I
he goes to Ferrari and it's a mess, like he still dictated his own story, and that's what matters.
Exactly. And that was and taking control of your narrative. I think
Mhm.
trying to just play Lewis Hamilton like that, Toto, please. Like Toto has just been. I used to like Toto and respect
Me
him and just
too.
respect his. And nowadays, I'm just like the things he says. I'm like, I can
Same
no
with
longer
Prost.
see him the same. Like, um, but like, does that mean that Max Verstappen could go to Mercedes? To be honest, I know we cannot just be we're saying this is Formula One in 2024. Anything could happen, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I think M- Toto and Mercedes are really focused on Kimi. They're gonna send Kimi
They're
internally.
okay. So this is my theory. It's a very silly theory, but my
No, I
thing
love silly theories.
is
Mhm.
George also has a 1+1 contract. If Toto was stuck with George and Kimmy or Max and Kimmy, he would take Max in a
Max,
heartbeat. In a
very
heartbeat.
so he would not even no hesitation. No hesitation. And I think that's the thing with George. Like, I mean, it's always like the weird stories. Yeah, oh, like the day Lewis went to see like Toto to tell him about him moving to Ferrari. Apparently George was living in Toto's house. Like, come on, like what? Like George is never beating the allegations. It's like
I need him to stand up. I need him to be so for real. Like
I cannot,
genuinely.
the way I don't believe like he's actually like the drivers have an association called the Grand Prix Drivers Association or something.
Mhm.
And George is actually the president. And I'm like, can you just stand on business? Like, don't just be, like please have some backbone.
You
Like when it
know,
comes to Toto. Like, but I don't know for him, does he think he has no other future? Like it's just Mercedes forever.
I
I don't
don't
think he's like that good to have like I don't think I don't think Mercedes will ever replicate the success they had with Lewis
no,
Hamilton with
no,
anyone else.
no.
Yeah.
And I never understood. Okay, I understand why Toto wants Max because he's Max. Like you can't deny his talent. You can't.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
Yeah.
I understand, but I'm like, Toto, did you not have the most successful driver lineup for like 10 years? Like, can we take a breather? Like, you genuinely had the
Take a
most
chance.
successful.
Take a chance on Woody. Like, don't just do him like that all the time. I know on your notes before because I always like
Mhm,
making sure that you get all the content.
mhm.
We were going to talk about like Lando and Piastri. I still think Lando is insufferable. His personality is so oh my god. Like
I
with time he's just getting worse. Oh my
I don't
god.
under so listen, this is not any tea or shade to Lando, but I was thinking about this. Like Lando, since he joined McLaren, he's kind of been their number one. I think if Carlos had stayed and toughed it through, it would have been a different story. But he's been their number one. He's been their golden boy. Now that Oscar Piastri's here, and I genuinely think Oscar has what it takes to be a world champion. Like I genuinely believe it. Lando
Yes.
feel is feeling that pressure. It's the
Mhm.
pressure of having not being a midfield team anymore. It's the pressure of having a fast car and now having a competitive teammate who could and probably will beat you more than once. It's all of that. And then his attitude is just ugh, but you know?
That's the whole expression. Exactly. Like he used to be a bit more likable. I don't know. I think it's just his personality just I don't want to judge him because I don't know him personally, but the things we see, like him
Outside
on
of
those
Formula One,
episodes,
he's
Grill the
great on
Grid,
Quadrant, on his YouTube stuff. He's great at that. Like you see his
because
personality
that's his
there.
brand. But like seeing we've seen him in so many F1 videos, like the recent Grill the Grid. I'm like, oh my god, why would you be so insufferable? Like,
It was so sad to see. I was like, sir, do we need to have a conversation? Because what's
do we
going
need
on?
to do we need to meet outside? Like,
Literally.
I think I love what Oscar is doing. Like Oscar, this is the second season. He had an insane rookie season as well. And I
Mhm.
think this is just maybe what Lando is saying. Maybe he feels in his head like this dude did not pay his dues the way he keeps on saying about Lewis Hamilton. Oh, you just came into a fast car. Lewis came into a fast car, he was winning races. Now you have a fast car, you're not winning. Like, what's happening, Lando? Like, make it. I think, yeah, it's gonna. But I think Oscar Piastri is very well put together. He's a
Mhm.
calm. I don't understand how much composure that lad has. Like he has so much of it. You will never catch him out of like I don't even know. I think the
Character.
most animated I have seen him is just in that one Grill the Grid episode.
He was like,
And I was like, okay, that's yes, yes, yeah. It was crazy. I think that's the most I've seen him, but. I think he is world championship material, and right this 2024 season has been his season to figure out his racecraft. Maybe that is what he was struggling with last year.
mhm.
I mean, given it's
He was
his
a
rookie season.
rookie, you know?
Yeah, so this year he's gonna. I mean, 2025 is gonna be a great year for him. If McLaren continue
Hmm.
on this trajectory as well. I
Hmm.
mean, can he beat Lando? I believe he can. He
I
can.
think
He can, and
give
he
him a
will.
couple more races and he's
Yeah.
got it on lock. I genuinely believe it. And I think that's a scary thing for Lando. I think, and additionally, Lando had to wait how long for a race win, and here comes Oscar. 2 seasons in, and he has
I
a race.
mean, yeah, I don't understand like how he went. I mean, there was always that one chance. I think that we will never Sochi 2021 was it the one? Yeah, he could
Mhm.
have won, but then didn't do it. This year he could have been a multiple race winner. Probably had McLaren just had their stuff together, but also I think they're just still trying to figure out that they can win races. I think
Yeah.
we just need to be a bit more graceful with them. I like
Yeah.
McLaren as a team,
Me
so
too.
I'm
I
just
actually
gonna
do too.
extend grace. I'm gonna just
Hmm.
extend a bit of grace to them. So, yeah, but
Yeah.
I think next year will be a really trying time for. I think the market, the driver pairing, the driver lineups for 2025 will be crazy. Like everyone is competitive. Like we have Sainz and Albon, they're good drivers. Lewis and Leclerc. We have Lando and Oscar. We have Max and Checo. So it's no shade, no like.
I try and
So
root for
I
him
mean,
so hard because, he's North American. I'm like, solidarity, but like, Checo,
no,
come
I'm
on.
always. You should see me trying to convince people. Like I know we've seen Checo in his prime, like when he was driving before he was actually signed by Red Bull in
Hmm.
2021.
Hmm.
Was it racing for Racing Point? He was
Point.
brilliant. He's a good driver. He can do. If there's anyone who can drive, it's him. He can do it. So I just need
But
him
what
to be a
happened?
bit
He
more
signed that
consistent.
contract and just split, you know?
He said, I have my future sorted. So you know what, guys? I'm just gonna sit, I'm gonna sit back, relax. And then
Oh,
maybe, that whole TikTok sound of I'm sitting back and relaxing, and all of a sudden I hear this
it's
annoying
the Happy
thingy.
Boys.
And one of the annoying things it's us telling him, Checo, Checo, you're gonna lose your seat. But I don't think he's gonna lose his seat. Checo
Hmm.
has a yeah, I don't know, but like that's I don't know. Um
It's
I don't
just
think Daniel Ricciardo is gonna go there as well. No.
no, that's so curious to me because I'm like, I have this theory where it's like, okay, if anything, they're not going to get rid of Checo right now, they'll wait until the end of the season. And then, if anything, they'd have Daniel Ricciardo there for 1 year, Liam Lawson at V Carb for another. And then, 2026, Liam goes to V Carb, which I'm like, give it to Yuki, but hey, whatever. I guess they don't want him. So,
But
yeah,
I'm wondering why don't they want the lad there? Like Yuki is good.
he's been their
He's
most
he's gotten
consistent
better.
driver.
He's been very consistent. He's gotten better. Like it's not the Yuki of 2 years ago who would be very reactive on radios. No, he's better like right now. But anyway, I think with Honda going to Aston Martin
Mhm.
and maybe I don't know, maybe could Yuki at one point end up going to Aston Martin? Who knows? I don't
I
know.
mean,
Like,
Alonso
but I
could
think
retire.
I think Alonso will. He needs to retire anyways. He also
I
annoys me sometimes.
Girl, listen, like that man is such a hater. He's such a hater. I kind of respect
A
it.
committed hater, like he is so committed to the hate. Oh my god! Oh my
I kind of respect it, but I do think after 2026, he's probably gonna end up retiring. I think
yeah,
so.
I think. Yeah, I think he will go into like a managerial role. He would make
Yeah.
a great team principal as well. So
He has his
I could
karting
see him.
company, which is pretty good.
Yeah,
I can see
yeah.
that.
So I think I could see him coming back to F1 working and like in like a he could also make a very good team principal. So who knows? So we'll just
That'd
wait
be
and see now.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Who's your
thank you
favorite
so
driver, by the way, Lewis?
Oh, Lewis Hamilton through and through. Like it's not even like a joke. Like I try and be objective with everything, but when it comes to Hamilton, I'm like, the bias is there.
The
It's there.
bias is out. I'm biased. Like I'm on it. I'm saying this with my chest, and I'm very biased about exactly. I love that.
Literally.
Are you moving to Ferrari or like are you gonna be
I'm
loyal to
out. I'm
Mercedes?
going to Ferrari.
Ah,
Are you kidding me?
very fast. We're all learning the Italian anthem now. It's
Yeah,
like
Mercedes is not seeing me come 2025. Sorry. Sorry. I'm
you
sorry.
thought.
Like you actually thought. I'm a fan of Lewis. I'm a fan of Charles, Oscar,
Mhm,
and then those are like my big three, I would say. That's my
mhm.
big three. And I actually like really like Albon as well. Like I'm a Williams supporter because I just love seeing the underdog like win.
Yeah,
So,
wait, I mean 100%.
mhm.
I like Bortis. Like these are
Oh
my
my
other
God,
drivers.
I
I like
need him to
Bortis as
stay
well.
one more
Yeah,
year.
Bortis. Yeah. I need him to I think he will get I think Alpina also courting him and some I
Yeah,
think he would just be a great like addition to any team. He has like
I
he's
agree.
worked with a factory team at Mercedes. He's won races. I think he can
And
it
he
would be a shame if he left Formula 1. I would be so devastated. And then I don't know who's going to show us their bats, like their arse on social media. So I need him to stay. He's the king of side quests. He's always doing something random. So I need
I
him to
general
stay on.
I need him to stay. And like even though it doesn't look like he's doing anything at Sauber because that car is so bad, he's actually putting in work.
No, he has made it through to Q2 several times this
Yeah.
year, but then now that car can't score points. It's unfortunate.
Gosh, it's so unfortunate. But yeah, I we are running out of time.
Yeah,
Again.
I think we.
Because
Do you wanna
again,
tell me like your quick predictions for like who do you think is gonna like what team do you think will win the constructors this year and what
ooh,
driver?
I think it could be McLaren if they stay as consistent as they are, especially right now with Red Bull really only having like one main
Mm-hmm.
driver. I would love to. My delusional self is like Lewis is gonna win always. Like I'm like he could do it.
The driver's title. Oh my god, I
He could
need
do
your
it.
delusion, guys.
He could do it.
He
It's
could do
probably
it.
gonna.
There's still a statistical like chance that he could do it. So if it's that, he could take it. He could take
He could
it.
do it, but it's probably gonna be Max. But I don't know if come next year Max is gonna win anymore. I'm not gonna lie. I think this is it.
I think this is it. Like the end of the Red Bull dominance. It's
Hmm.
now.
Damn, it really
Yeah.
came and went. I'm happy because last year was literal pain.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Last year was painful.
And
Like,
I was
what do
still
you
committed to
mean?
watching every single race. I was like,
And
I'm
then
gonna
do you know like how bad it is? Like that's when I started the podcast. I was like, what do I even have to talk about? Like that I could
this is
have
why
not
I
even said it
don't
at
do
a
race
worse
recaps.
time.
That's why
Like I
I
was like,
don't
oh my I was like, no, like I don't. That was the worst time to start. Probably I was saying maybe I could have started in 2020. The 2021 drama would have been very good for
Steph's
numbers.
kiss.
But this season is coming alive, so that's something at
Oh,
least.
I'm loving this season. I'm loving this
Me
season so
too.
much. And I really hope after summer break we keep on this trajectory. Like, can I see an Esteban Ocon win? Hey, you
Sign me
know,
up.
sign
Yes,
me
yeah.
up. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but sign me up.
Oh my God, babe, this has been amazing. This has been a very good chat. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
inviting me here.
Thank you for coming. I'm so happy to have met you. Like I've been so I'm like in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's my friend. Like, but
No, no, it's gonna come.
but thank you so much for joining me today. Please let the audience know where they can find you because they need to watch your content because it's great. You're missing out if you're not watching it. So the mic is yours.
Oh yeah, so yeah, you can find us on we're on YouTube as well, the
Mhm.
Willspin Podcast. We're on Instagram at the Willspin Podcast, on TikTok at the Willspin Podcast, and on Twitter as well at the Willspin Podcast. Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys for listening to us yap around, yap our minds out.
Oh
Yeah, and
man,
continue
so much
supporting
fun.
my girl Fatima, like
I can see you
the
spreading
race
my
edit
girl,
to the
the
world.
Real Spin
Yes.
podcast.
I hope probably we'll now soon meet up like in like one in the pit lane, F1 pit lane, like doing a
Oh,
business.
I
Yes.
hope so too. I hope so too. I think we will, good girl. I think we will. I have faith in us. Oh no, my
Me
friend.
too. I believe in us. I believe in us so much.